All right, let's talk for a minute about working with wholesalers. So, if you're not familiar, a wholesaler is a real estate company that typically has a large inside sales team that is just pounding the phones all day long, every day. And they're calling the same folks that you and I would try to reach out to with direct mail or cold calls and trying to engage, creating follow up lists, follow up reasons, weeks out, months out, quarters out, until somebody is ready to sell. And then they're negotiating a very fair price and then adding a margin on top of that to help pay for the time and effort that they're putting in. And then they sell that deal to the market. So I'll give you an example. I recently bought a deal from a wholesaler, and we bought a deal in Somerset, Kentucky for $750,000. And that wholesale organization, they're great. I was very, very fortunate to have worked with them. They had found that seller, negotiated a purchase price. They then added a fee on top of that, which I was happy to pay, and then sold me the deal for that price. And then at closing, when we're in escrow, there's essentially a three-way transaction. They close with the seller, then I close with them, and then I own the facility. So essentially, all of this takes place in escrow. They collect a fee for finding the deal. Sometimes those fees, they don't typically disclose the fees, but typically they're somewhere between $50,000 and $150,000 is the wholesale fee, maybe more, maybe less, but that's kind of the averages that I've seen. You don't typically know that until you get to the end, into the final purchase and when it's all said and done. Now, working with wholesalers is a pretty quick way to find potentially good deals. Their goal is to maximize the sales price to me as a buyer, and then their goal is to make sure that they're profiting and making as much as they can on their fees so that there's still enough room after they sell it to me for me to make money. And so that deal that I bought for $750,000 needed about $50,000 of capital expenditure improvements, which we've since done. That deal, I was all in for just a little bit over $800,000. I think and feel strongly based on my underwriting that deal is worth $1.3 million to $1.4 million when we get it fully stabilized, and we're already well on our way. So that's typically how the wholesalers work. Now, the question is like how to find the wholesalers. Probably not as simple as just finding them on Google with a Google search. You will see if you are in any of the Facebook groups, maybe some of the groups where you and I connected, there's quite often deals that are listed there. And here's what I would suggest. Every time that you see a deal that someone puts out there is send a direct message, offer to jump on a call. Be different. Don't just drop your email address in there and run, but DM them, tell them a little bit about yourself, ask them if we can jump on a call, have a 2-minute conversation with them and say, hey, can I give you my email address so you can add it to your list? So in the future, when you have deals like this, you can, make sure that I'm included. Every time they're going to say yes. My guess is based on what I see on Facebook, there's at least 10, maybe 12 wholesalers that are out there. Whether or not all the deals are great or not, I don't know. Typically, all of them on Facebook have a ton of action. But the reality is like, who's being relentless and following up and taking advantage of the opportunity that's there. So what I would suggest is read down below. There's a lot of good information that I included down below on how to talk to wholesalers and work with them and the value they provide. But the bottom line is taking action and reaching out to them and making sure that you're on their list. Again, be the bear, right? When we get on the wholesalers list and they have our email address, very easily they can now come back to us with opportunities before they put it out in the market, especially if you talk with the wholesaler and let them know that you can perform and close. All right. Thanks. Talk to you soon.